Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the best, the most authentic true crime channel yet to ever come to YouTube. For those that are new, I just give my honest opinions and reactions to anything true crime related. So if you're a fan of true crime or anything true crime related, I would advise you to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell so that way you get notified every time I post a new video. Also, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/realtruecrimeking. I've got a lot of goodies over there. I've got different packages for every type of budget, and I've got different things that you can do, all kinds of goodies over there. Welcome to the channel, and let's get to the video. What's up, guys? Alright, so I was clicking around, and then I came across this Drunk Turkey show. Okay, so and then they're claiming to have a caller close to Bryan Kohberger case calls in with stunning new details. So I'm gonna watch this, and I'm gonna see if we find out anything stunning and any new details, right? So hit that like and subscribe button, and let's go.
The other day we had a show where viewers were calling in, and on that show we had a caller, Kim, from the state of Washington, who claimed that she had two of her children that attended WSU. She stated that those children were close-ish to the situation. And
okay, real quick, I don't know what close to the situation means. I mean, okay, they attended, Washington State?
In this video, in this clip, I'm going to drop the conversation that we had. It's about 30 minutes. I have been able to verify who she is, who her children are, and that they attend WSU. I've also been able to verify the acquaintances and the friends and everybody that's associated with her claims as far as who her children associate with. There is a connection to the victims there, and some very startling information that came about. Now, a lot of that information came about after the phone call. You'll hear in the phone call, she'll say, I feel like I should tell you this off air. Me and her had that conversation. So this episode is just the phone call. Part 2, which is going to be the conversation that she and I had after the fact, will be aired tomorrow. So I highly encourage you guys to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. That way you're notified all.
Yeah, well, I would encourage you guys to watch this first, and let's see if it's clickbait or not, and then you decide for yourself, right?
Also of that conversation, or that summary of the conversation that she and I had after the fact.
This is my first time watching it, so I don't know. I like my reactions to be genuine. So most of the time, this is my first time watching it. Just that is the case with this. So I have no idea what this girl's gonna say. So,
you know, and we'll get into detail a little bit more of how I was able to verify, or what I was able to verify as far as her children attending WSU, and how close in proximity and close to both Bryan Kohberger and the victims.
Okay, so far I think yeah, just because they live close, you know, I mean, it doesn't, the title implies they're close to the investigation, right? But I don't know. We'll find
out. So please don't forget to do that. Also, this type of content usually gets demonetized, which means that YouTube doesn't push it out that often. In order for this to reach a broader audience, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button would really help this channel move forward in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't. YouTube true crime doesn't get demonetized at all. But I don't know.
And get this content.
I don't know what he means by that.
worked out to as many people as possible. With that being said, guys, here's the conversation. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And be ready, because part 2 tomorrow will have more details. In fact, a lot more details as far as what they know. It's significant. Here we go. Actually had somebody calling in. I'm going to call them back because they've called a couple of times. Let me see if they answer. I've never done this before where I call somebody back. But I'm going to call Kim. If you're listening, I'm calling you right now because you've called in a couple of times. Kim. Hello, Kim. This is Daniel.
Damn, he's never called somebody back before. Why not?
From the Turkey show. I know you called a couple of times, so I wanted to reach out.
I did call a couple of times. I just really feel it's important that anybody who's listening who's got kids over there or lives over there to know that don't just think because this guy's behind bars right now that it's all done and it's safe, because it's really not. The case is still ongoing. The investigation is still ongoing, and pretty active.
Well, yeah, that's obvious.
And it, I have 2 kids over there. It's scary, terrifying actually, and I get they got to catch the guys, but the lack of transparency is wild. Right. And I have been told that I'm not to speak, but you know what? I'm a mom. Put me in jail, whatever. I'm not going to stop speaking if I don't think my kids are safe. And I honestly do not believe they're safe. And this guy, he's a monster, no doubt. I have no doubt. But there's so many other areas in this case that are just not being told, nor should they have to be. But you have to guarantee, if I call police officers and ask if my kid is safe and they can't guarantee me that, that's a problem. And that's what's happening.
Right.
And they're over their heads.
All right. Well, I try and keep everything in perspective, right? So, I mean, this woman could have some knowledge, right? Or she could just want her 5 minutes of fame. Plenty of people just act like they have information. Or some people, they genuinely believe that, whatever they believe is correct, right? So I'm trying to balance all that. Let's see what she says.
100% Moscow is over their heads, and I'll say that to them. But this guy could get off. This attorney is better than good. If you want an attorney to get you out, she will, and so will their forensic investigator. And I'm not saying he's brilliant. I don't think he is. I think he's a monster. He's an animal. But
okay, she keeps saying that Bryan's a monster and an animal, but then on the other hand, she's saying that she doesn't believe her kids are safe, and so that's implying that she thinks somebody else did this, or somebody helped them. I'm trying to get where she's going.
And he did know those girls, and we have a substantial and significant. And I say this on the record, and I'm not alleging it. I'm a parent, and I've been dealing with it now for 2 years. I pay $50,000 a year for this stuff, and I'll tell you what. There is a drug problem, a significant drug problem. There's a Greek road problem, and I've got kids on Greek road, right? So I'm coming from a place of knowing, and I just want people to just have a conversation with the kids. You are not safe.
Okay. We know there's drugs out there.
Just because the guy's behind bars does not make you safe, right?
Well, here's the thing. It don't matter where you live.
But what does she mean by you're not safe? What do you mean by that? If you mean drugs, yes. There's always going to be drugs.
I sent my kids to school with tasers. That's weird.
Yeah. No, I noticed your what state you were calling from, and I know that.
My first impression is this mom is just being overprotective of her kids, and
it looks like it's fairly close to where this could have taken place. You having kids that are currently going near there, that would be scary. I would be scared, and
unless their kids were friends with Kohberger or Kaylee and the kids in that house, I don't see how her kids have anything to do with this at all, except they go, they live near where it happened.
Understand where your fear comes from, and this probable cause. And I've heard this as well about the lawyer that is defending Bryan, and her team that has come in already. And I'm assuming, based on the fact that because of the nature of the crime, the degree and the penalty that is involved, that the courts only had a few options as far as who can defend him, and that she was well aware of that early on, and that's why she got to work right away. I mean, she stopped the cleaning, she stopped a lot of things, and
she stopped quite a few things. She's already asked for all of their evidence. She wants that. She asked for that today.
one thing
And then
after,
to have seal the, I don't know.
So the lawyer must have said stop the cleaning, I guess, because since it's like a party house, right? They can say that there's all kinds of DNA in that house, right? Because they're gonna find a whole bunch of male DNA, but guess where they're not gonna find a whole bunch of male DNA? Underneath the button of a knife sheath that was left right next to Madison's dead body, right?
I kind of do know what is. So this is over a state line, so there's no reason the feds can't get involved now.
Right.
Because it's cross state line. And right, and I don't think, and I'll honestly be honest, because it wasn't. I don't think it was his knife. I think it was the guy who SWAT killed December 15th.
Right. There was a incident at WSU involving a guy who was threatening to cause harm, unalive, and we'll use that term, his roommates, and he had to have been taken out by lethal means by the SWAT team. And
yeah, that was what Bryan and his dad were talking about when they got pulled over. SWAT team had to go in because some guy.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. I went looking for information on that case, and I found out his name and who he was. And this guy was an older guy. He was in his above, I think it was
38.
30s. Yeah, like in upper 30s.
PTSD, right? Military PTSD.
Right.
He also is in UI Tech. He works for the University of Idaho Tech Department.
Okay, so what does that have anything to do with this case?
Wow. And so.
And Tech was down that night. So when they're saying they're getting pings or whatever, first of all, he'd been in the house before a plethora of times. He was an invited guest into that home before, and I do know this because, well,
yeah. Okay. Finish your sentence. How do you know this?
I'm here now. What are they going to do? My daughter, because we knew it. My daughter.
She's stuttering.
I don't know. At 10 a.m. It was Parents' Weekend. The weekend it occurred,
right.
And so we went to get my daughter for breakfast, and then. And my son to go to breakfast and go to whatever, grocery shopping or whatever before we left. And on the way home, we get this alert. It was like 5 o'clock. We come over to the other side of the mountains. Our kids are about 6 hours away. And so we came home and we get this alert. And I called my daughter and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she's like, oh, I already know, Mom. I knew that this morning, like around 10. I'm like, how'd you know? And so anyway, as it all comes out, as I immediately called the FBI and told them every bit of information I had been given from my daughter and her roommate for them.
Hold on, dude. I thought she was going to explain how she knew Bryan when it was in the house multiple times, right?
They weren't there, but then we found out somebody was not telling the truth, so we had to call back.
And just so you guys know, I've had, before this case was solved, I had at least 20 people in my comments saying that they knew stuff and they called the FBI, and then it all turned out to be fake. So. Just we'll see.
And other information has come out because I spend Christmas I press my kids to the wall for every bit of information they possibly could have because people didn't have children at Christmas. Like it's beyond words. It's beyond. I can't. But at any rate.
So far, I haven't heard anything significant, stunning, or anything of that nature.
So the kids, but they think the guys behind bars now and they're good. And the fact is, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a huge problem. It's a problem on Greek Row, and it's a problem with Sigma Chi, and there are 10 student deaths at U of I since May.
Oh, wow.
She's talking about drugs. I live 20 minutes from Baltimore, okay? Yeah, your kids aren't safe if they don't do the right things. And there's crazy people out there, yeah. But let's get to this case there, Mommy.
That's an extraordinary amount. I don't know the count, but I will tell you this. Every time when we go to campus, quite a bit, we watch the games or whatever and participate in our kids' lives there. And every time we've been there, there's been a violent event or a gun event or something. There's never been a time we have been on that campus when there hasn't been something that went down.
Okay, so that must mean she must be saying that your kids aren't safe because every time she goes out, there's a violent event. Right?
Acceptable, in my opinion.
But I'm still waiting to hear something about this case, right?
Yeah.
And it's just because they don't listen and they're ignoring it. And, my son's an athlete. He chose not to go Greek, and he's actually chosen to transfer to ASU. to finish out his education, which we're thrilled. My daughter's a senior, though, right? She's about to graduate with Xana's sister. I mean,
well, guess what? There's dangerous people over at ASU as well. Okay.
These kids are connected. They're friends, and I don't know them other than I wish I never knew their names. Actually, to be quite honest, right? I mean,
okay, she just admitted she doesn't know them.
But it could have been my kid. Yeah. You know, it could have been all of our children, and nobody's paying. People are satisfied with it's okay because we said it was okay. But guess what? How can you tell me my kid is safe and that it's a targeted event, but you don't know who is the target or why? It's not. One has to make two.
They're telling you your kid is safe because the murderer is in jail. I mean, the police went all in. They saying that Bryan committed these murders, and you know, the FBI was involved. Okay, so if they weren't 100%, then they would be doing a huge disservice to the public if they're not 100% sure that Bryan Kohberger committed these crimes.
When it makes all these other numbers, something's not right, and I'm that mom that's just going to be a pain in the rear.
Right.
It's just, and I don't apologize for that. God gave me these children, and I tried to do my job.
No, for sure, 100%. You know, I have kids myself, and
I just want to know that
Blue has a statement. I know you can't hear him. Go ahead, Blue.
We're from Texas, and I don't believe our kids are safe in school either. So.
Yeah, guys, we don't want to hear about your kids. We want to hear about the case.
Yeah. Yeah, Blue says we're from Texas, and we actually live very close to a recent incident that happened in Uvalde. That's literally the halfway point from where we're located to our hometown, and we drive through there quite often.
That is heart-wrenching. I am
between
I gotta skip
Moscow that they've been trying to, you know, based on the way and the degree that it occurred, I would assume that they wouldn't be putting it out there that people were safe. You know, I would tell people to be vigilant. I would tell people, hey, you know what? There's somebody out there on the loose that committed this crime. And to be safe. And, you know, you also look at the fact that they didn't want to put the rewards out there. They didn't want flyers out because that would deter people going into their schools. That has been a common thought process for this situation ever since. Is that the feeling that as a parent that you guys got?
It's numbers. It's a numbers game. So these are two small towns that connected, right? They're not competitive it came all the way, and I do think the bottom line was these kids are going to pour out of here if we don't get control over the narrative. Controlling the narrative would have been to be honest, to say, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what happened. We're going to send you guys all home globally. We know how to do this. We just did COVID. We can do this. We can rally. That would have kept your numbers up. Now, kids are fleeing, right? They're dropping like flies. If I get my daughter out of there, I would have. And I think they should, if they release him, my daughter doesn't have an argument with me anymore. She can pay her own tuition if she wants to stay, but she's coming home. I mean, honestly. So I think, yes, it's a numbers game. It's about money. And I actually think it's really worth a deep dive into Christchurch.
Yeah, okay. Still, so far, I just think this mom is being way too overprotective. And so far, I still haven't heard one shred of anything that's important to this case that nobody else knew about.
Very interesting and disturbing church. Moscow's beautiful. Honestly, we prefer when we go there to stay in Moscow because it's got great restaurants. It's just got a great vibe. And the hotel's so much nicer than most of the land and the properties. It's just, you have to look at it. I couldn't explain. But committed murder and got off with probation and broke his probation 3 different times, right? And then another guy, perhaps related to that person, maybe. And there's another kid who's possibly related to the Attorney General of the state. I mean, it's a very
small town.
This case, and stigma's high. I will say this, and I'll say it outright into their face. I've already said it to their national committee. They are no innocent in this whole situation. There are things that have gone down. If these kids don't speak up, kids are going to get hurt, and they're afraid. I understand they're afraid. They've got themselves in a little jam. That was bigger than they thought. And I said to my daughter, why in the world would these derelicts? Because basically that's what I think all of these guys who have been named are. Not just, it's because they're creeping on young girls. That's the creepers. That's what they were referred to. That's what they knew. That guy had been in that house a plethora of times. For his Wi-Fi to connect to there is not a big deal because your phone will automatically reconnect.
Okay, well, then tell us how you know this. If you know, I'm not gonna believe it until she tells me how she knows this. You know, I could say anybody could say anything, right? You have to have proof that what you're saying is true. You know,
If you've been there before.
and I don't know. Maybe Kohberger has been in there before. Maybe he hooked up with one of the girls before. Maybe he was doing drugs with one of the roommates before. Yeah, but I guarantee you that knife sheath was only there after he went in and killed these kids. So come on, I'm waiting for the stunning stuff.
Right. Well, he would have to be there and have a password prior, right? Now.
Well, smartphones will just, like, if it's a new enough smartphone, like mine will just reconnect wherever I've been.
Right.
I don't even have to hit a button.
They would have had to have connected initially. Like, for instance, if
yes.
Yeah, there was a private password protected, then he would have never connected to it. I have a question. Do your children that attended the schools nearby, I'm not sure if they attended that school or his?
Yeah. If it wasn't password connected, then it would connect. You know.
Was it? No, yeah. My son was in classroom 13. He was a TA in classroom 12.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, so this was really cool.
Yeah, did he know, or did he know of Bryan?
No, because Bryan was a PhD student.
Okay, so she just admitted her kids don't know Bryan. They just live close, okay?
PhD students. So PhD students, somebody called and told me this. How many kids are present?
Pullman, and, he was last seen in Pullman around 247. Once you head south of Pullman, how far do you go before you lose service?
Oh, maybe 5 minutes. Honestly, because it's all, maybe 5 minutes. There's no cell phone towers. So when you get to, when you come off of I-90, so for me, coming from the Seattle area, coming off I-90, right? I'll have range from Seattle to Snoqualmie Pass. And then I won't have it again until I hit Ellensburg. And I'll have it from Ellensburg until I turn right towards Othello. And then you don't have it all. Basically, you can't get the radio at all. And I went to college in Ellensburg, so you could never get the radio in Ellensburg. So that's kind of if you're basing it on that. So if you go to, but they use their iPhone, whatever, music stuff. But then we drive down, and you don't get it back until after you leave Colfax, which then is another, you probably have range. It's a 6-hour drive. You have range for maybe 2 hours, max.
I'm sorry, I'm skipping through because I don't want to do this, hour-long video with no fucking information in it. That's just not how I run my channel,
So then if you're going to go at all, I mean, a little bit, but not much. But if you're going deep towards Johnson, there's no range. There's no towers even to even get range. And so you go into data, which most people, so the kids go into data. So my phone will work on data and my kids will. But if you don't think Idaho is its own country, let me just share that with you. Lived on the south side. Cleared the south side, evacuated the south side during finals week, and then wound up shooting him at whatever time it was. But we didn't get the alert until 3 o'clock. He started this at 8 o'clock on the 14th, and he died at 4 o'clock on the 15th. And we didn't get the alert until like 3:30 in the morning. And we got 3 other alerts after that the following 3 days, which had no follow-up. And so then at one point, somebody had released, well, actually, I'm not sure if somebody had released it, to be honest with you, or if I had called somebody who was there that I knew was in media, and I said, what's going on?
Police said the suspect barricaded himself inside the apartment and fired several shots. Police evacuated other people in the area. Said the suspect's behavior continued to escalate, and he was shot by a SWAT team member. The suspect was found dead inside the apartment.
To go there because there were kids in my son's building that he knew, and she told me that who he was, and then the next day the story totally changed. Everything, his name, everything. But he, and so when I spoke with and I have been spoken, the FBI has continued to contact us and asked us for my kids for more statements, and I.
All right, so it sounds like her kids are more connected to this other case where this guy died than anything about the Kohberger and the 1122 King Road case, because I still haven't heard anything about that. And this is 25 minutes out out of 31 of this girl's call.
I said to the last officer, I think I was a little fresh. I feel bad, but I said, you're not giving me anything, and you're telling everybody they're safe? No way. I'm not giving you another thing until you tell me my kids are safe. Until you tell me what is going on. And I don't, maybe that's unreasonable, and I don't need to know what's happening. I just need to know that it's covered, and I just think it's not. I think with everything in me that these kids are unsafe and somebody's going to get harmed again. Right. There's a lot of dead children, and it is about drugs. And I don't know where it's coming from. But that was a trap house when they were buying drugs. He was meth and Molly. And
okay, that happens at just about every college in the United States, ma'am. All right? It doesn't matter what college you send your kids to. There's going to be meth and Molly at all of them. And that's just the cold, hard fact of life. Okay? And if you guys out there didn't know that, well, now you do, okay?
That's where it started.
Yeah, no, yeah.
There's a trap house, and that's not even the right word. A trap house is... That's not a trap house. That's just where they're using the drugs, okay? You guys gotta... People don't have the right terminology either.
Everything that you're saying makes a lot of sense.
But you're a very good interviewer because you just got that completely out of me on the radio, right? Or are you right?
Yeah.
Dude. Okay, well, I stand behind everything I say. And I will stand up in front of somebody. And I told them that. Keep my kids safe. You know, she had brain surgery in her senior year. My fear is they're going to let them go because they don't have enough to keep them, or at least postpone.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some holes in this case now. I'm hoping that the search warrant and the...
I think these guys are just trying to be nice to this woman. But so far, I mean, the title just seems a little clickbaity to me. Caller close to Bryan Kohberger case calls in with stunning new details, part 1. Where are the stunning new details, right?
The search of the Elantra comes up with something that's more concrete because, I mean, to hear this, you know, I knew that this was a rural area from the east to the west, yet...
Loves college. Like, she loves it. Which, more about what you...
Something, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that those are all plausible explanations. But if they knew who he was the next day, it leads me to believe that there's something that pointed in that direction very quickly. Now,
so, and I'm going to just say this quiet. So, I feel like I should tell you this privately, not publicly.
Okay, yeah. Let's see what she says here. Maybe this will be stunning.
Okay.
I don't know if that's possible. Because I just don't want to announce it. Because, you know what? These parents have lost children. Right. And I don't care what my kid does in life. If they don't get to change the trajectory of their life through their journey and their path, then it's a terrible... I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense at all?
No,
No, it doesn't.
Completely understand what you're saying. And yeah, we're actually probably only going to be on here for another few minutes, and then afterwards I can probably give you...
You can tap back. Yeah, perfect. And I'll tell you what I know.
Yeah.
All right. So apparently she's going to tell him the stunning stuff off air. And then he's going to tell us tomorrow. So I'm going to make another video tomorrow and we'll see what she said then. But as for this video, I mean, I like the Drunk Turkey show. It's okay, but title definitely a little clickbaity in my opinion. And I can have my opinion, right? But hit that like and subscribe button. True Crime King.